Today we are going to be talking about the topic of confidence, how to build confidence, the kind that isn't shaken by self-doubt, by opinions, comparison, or by failure. I'm so excited to talk about this, and before we start, I always have my tea, and if you're interested to know how I make my collagen tea, I posted a shorts about this, so I'm going to put the link to that below. I feel like having a cup of tea has just become part of these videos. I really love this mug as well. I got this from B&M last year, and I just feel like it's very befitting for the season. We're entering the Christmas season very soon, and it's got an A there for Annie. So yeah, that actually brings me to welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Annie, and this is the Elevation Edit, where we talk all things self-improvement, building healthy habits, and just becoming the best version of ourselves. Before we can talk about confidence, we need to talk about the differences between self-esteem and confidence, because they are normally confused with each other. Lots of people think they are the same. I used to think that they are the same, but they're not. So let's cover that first. Now, self-esteem, that is how you view yourself internally. So your own self-worth. Basically, it's the relationship that you have with your own identity. So if you have low self-esteem, maybe you don't think you're worth very much, you don't believe that good things should come to you, you don't think that you should have nice things, that would be an individual with a low self-esteem. So self-esteem is the foundation, and self-esteem directly correlates to how confident you are. So the greater your self-esteem, the more confident you're going to feel. Self-confidence, on the other hand, is more behavioral. Basically, somebody who is self-confident might say things to themselves such as, I can do hard things, I can speak up, I trust myself to follow through with this idea, I can handle challenges. So in conclusion to this first point, self-confidence grows through actions, whereas self-esteem grows through self-acceptance and self-awareness. And it's really important because you definitely need both. In order to be confident, you must have high self-esteem. You could be an individual who has very poor self-esteem, and sometimes you might feel confident, but that confidence is unstable, it's on shaky ground. So you might feel confident in a moment, and then suddenly you no longer believe that you can complete that task. So we need to work on self-esteem, how we view ourselves, how we value ourselves, the words we say to ourselves, and just having a complete self-awareness and full acceptance of who we are. Which brings me to my next point, which is about limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs as an adult more often than not comes from experiences that you have when you were still a child or in your formative years. The comments that were made towards you when you were growing up, they do stick, and then when you become an adult, you then act upon the comments that you heard when you were younger. So think about the environments that you were in. Were you in certain environments that made you shrink and become a smaller version of yourself? Did you have certain experiences that made you question your abilities? A limiting belief is basically a thought that you repeated over and over again until it became the rule in your life. And in order to grow self-confidence, you need to start to remove those limiting beliefs, breaking them down, and then forming new expansive beliefs that are limitless about yourself. I can do anything. Anything is possible for me. I can have my dream car, my dream house. Absolutely anything that I want for, I can have, as long as I put the right amount of work in. And some of the thoughts could be things like, I'm not good enough. If I try, I'll embarrass myself. People will judge me. I'm not the type of person who succeeds. Confidence is for other people, but not for me. Do you see how negative that is and how regressive that is? Anything that you learn can be unlearned. So any belief that you have about yourself, that you've learned about yourself, you can unlearn it. I finished filming this entire video, and then I looked at my camera and it said memory full. So now I'm sat here and I'm recording the whole thing again. I recorded like the first 10 minutes and then no more memory, so I'm here filming everything again, but it's okay, not to worry. I'm going to add even more gems into this video. In order to break a limiting belief, you need to challenge that belief with evidence. So thinking, is it true? Where did this come from? Who taught me to think this way? Do I have any proof that this belief is accurate? And most of the time you'll find that the answer is no. Then you can replace that belief with something more empowering, like I never follow through. And instead of saying I never follow through, you could say I'm working on my consistency. Rather than saying I'm not a confident person, you could say I'm building my confidence every single day. Rather than saying people won't like me, you could say the right people will respond to my authenticity. Your beliefs shape your behavior, and your behavior then shapes your reality. And that brings me to my next point, which is overlooking criticism and to stop comparing yourself to others. We'll start with criticism. Now, I was told something a few years ago. It really changed my perspective and how I thought about things. It changed my thought process. And it was that most criticism says more about the person giving it than the person receiving it. And that's because most of the time people criticize from their own fears, their own insecurities, and also from their own frustrations. If you come across or you notice someone who is constantly judging other people, then that's a very telltale sign that they're not building anything for themselves. Because somebody who is building something for themselves and focused on their own journey doesn't have the time to be using their valuable energy and their precious time to be judging and nitpicking and tearing down other people. And once you understand that, that is going to do a whole lot for your confidence, because you'll very quickly be able to just ignore criticism and just focus on your own path. So the next time criticism comes, ask yourself this question: do I want to trade places with this person? And if the answer is no, then let it go. The next thing that I want to touch base on is comparison. Now, I actually talked about comparison in one of my previous videos, and I'll link the video somewhere here. Now, comparison steals your joy, it steals your peace, and it steals your clarity. When you're comparing your life to somebody else's, essentially what you're doing is you are measuring your own journey with somebody else's timeline and with someone else's strengths. And everyone's path is unique. It's different to anybody else's. Nobody else is exactly the same as you. You might come across people who are similar to you in life and share the same hobbies and interests, but nobody is exactly the same as you. So therefore, how can your path and your timeline be the same as somebody else's? In order to truly build confidence and start to feel more confident within yourself, the only person that you should be striving to be better than is the person you were yesterday. That's it. So this brings me to the next point, which is to speak about the fear of failure and how we can overcome it. I think absolutely everybody has been afraid and scared of failure at some point in our lives, and some people experience it more than others. So the first thing is, a fear of failure is not a sign that you shouldn't do something, but it is a sign that you do care about that thing so much so that you really want to succeed in it and do well, and you're just so afraid of failing that sometimes that can stop you from even trying in the first place. Now, the fear is your mind trying to protect you from discomfort. But discomfort isn't a danger. Discomfort means that you're growing. Anytime you are learning a new skill and it's challenging and you have to read, that discomfort is a sign that you are pushing your brain and you're pushing it to new limits. And you should always be striving for that feeling, actually, that slight discomfort, because it means that you're moving forward. So what you can do to actually break that fear of failure is to just try. Start small, build momentum, and just allow yourself to try. And even if you do fail, it's okay, because failure just means that you're one step closer to succeeding. Most successful people failed countless times, more times than you can imagine, and they just kept going and going and going because they knew that one day, that at the right time, they were going to succeed. I want you to not think of failure as the opposite of success, but to think of failure as a pathway to it. Failure is actually part of succeeding, and when you truly understand that, you will be unstoppable, because nobody will be able to tell you anything. You will keep going until you get exactly what you want. So if you're working on your confidence and you want to build your confidence, the next thing you need to do is to learn how to be completely unbothered and to learn emotional regulation. Because an individual, a woman who is confident, is not dictated by insecurity. She doesn't feel insecure. She's completely secure and completely assured with herself. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that you're selective to what you give your energy to. You don't chase validation. You don't react emotionally to every opinion. You don't force things. And ultimately, you remain grounded in who you are. So the next thing I want to talk about is confidence through your appearance and self-expression. Because how you present yourself directly impacts how you see yourself, and how you see yourself then affects how you show up. So I would definitely recommend investing in your appearance. Now, investing in your appearance doesn't mean vanity or being very shallow. It doesn't mean any of those things. It means becoming somebody who you're proud of, that you are able to be in any room and just, feel confident being there. And these are the sort of things you can do, making sure you're grooming yourself, having a clean wardrobe, making sure you're choosing clothes that fits your body type, just choosing a style that really represents your identity. And if you struggle with that, I absolutely love Pinterest. I love scrolling through Pinterest and just getting inspiration from there. I'm going to be touching on the power of affirmations. Affirmations are so powerful and they seriously do work. Telling yourself positive things each and every single day, they do self-actualize. When you tell yourself, if you say negative things to yourself, negative things then tend to happen because you behave in relation to the things you tell yourself. But if you tell yourself positive things, then you'll start to behave in a way that aligns with the way that you view yourself and what you've told yourself. And that's because your mind believes what it repeats consistently. So an example of a quiet way to affirm yourself, because I think I normally see advice of others telling people to stand in the mirror and tell yourself positive affirmations. And yes, I definitely believe in that, but also just in day-to-day life. It could be that you have a presentation, for example, and normally you would say, I'm not confident enough and I can't do this presentation, and when I stand up there I'm going to embarrass myself. But rather than saying that, you could say, right, I can do it. I believe in my ability to stand up and present my ideas to this audience, present my speech to this audience. So ultimately, confidence is not a personality trait. Confidence is a skill. And when you understand it's a skill, you'll start to implement strategies that's going to help you to build confidence over time. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.